would tie for the longest win streak in program history since TCU joined the Big 12. And UCF trying to end a 3-game slide. These teams at the moment headed in opposite directions. UCF controls the tip. Jordan Burks right away knocks down a triple.
Well, that's a good start for UCF, right? Get Jordan Burks, a guy who hasn't shot it great from the three-point line as of late, get him an easy, good look early on.
Burks double figures in 4 of the last 5 games. He has been consistent offensively all season for UCF. There's TCU's leading scorer, David Punch. His pass deflected. Horned Frogs keep possession. The shot clock reset. So Chris Merlot is at the scorer's table. We'll reduce that significantly from 18. Got a glimpse of the coaches. There's Jamie Dixon, 10th year coaching at his alma mater. Now 60 years old, outstanding time at Pittsburgh, 13 seasons there, made multiple Sweet 16s, and he has elevated this TCU program to the point where they are a perennial postseason contender.
Miscommunication right there between Pierre and David Punch. You're absolutely right, Austin. I mean, I remember when I was coming up as a kid and he was the head coach of Pittsburgh, and those groups are always built on physicality and toughness. And when his teams at TCU have been at their best, they've had a similar identity. They say teams take on the identity of their coach. Well, if you look at Jamie Dixon right now, he's a model of intensity.
There's the UCF starting 5. Significant to see JaMychal Stillwell back out there in the starting 5. He missed the game against West Virginia with an ankle injury. Able to go through shoot-around today. Looked good in warm-ups. He's got a brace on his right ankle, but back in the starting lineup for the Knights.
So in the pregame warm-up, he was going back and forth between whether or not he wanted to wear the brace. Seems like he finally decided on putting it on. A little bit of influence from the coaching staff, I believe. Said you are not playing without that ankle brace for Michael Stillwell.
Xavier Edmonds off on the 3. Google saves what would have been a Themis Folks turnover.
See, TCU's going to trap those ball screens up near the top of the key. Going to make things hard on UCF, especially with Themis Folks and Riley Kugel. Got to make quick decisions out of those ball screen traps.
John Bull rebounds the Brock Harding miss. Folks quickly the other way. Stillwell ends up with a loose change and an easy bucket.
And what looked like was going to go the other way with TCU pretty quickly. Brock Harding just unable to secure the rebound, turns into an easy UCF 2.
On the baseline, foul committed. Micah Robinson with the aggressive drive.
Yeah, this is a tough lay right here from Folks. And then see right here, Brock Harding actually had that basketball. Went going the other way too soon. But for a guy like JaMychal Stillwell, who's obviously playing through the injury tonight, is not at 100%. Getting a quick 2 on the board for him makes that ankle feel a little bit better.
First free throw good for Micah Robinson. Saw the ankle brace there of Stillwell. His presence so important to this UCF team.
Oh, I mean, it's outside of Themis Folks, it's JaMychal Stillwell as the second most important player on this UCF team with the way he's able to defend, the way he's able to create second chance opportunities. He is really the glue that stabilizes this Knights group.
Top 10 in the conference in rebounding, averaging 12.5 points and 8 rebounds a game. Burks on the baseline, got a step. 5 early points for Jordan Burks.
That's just a great read by Themis Folks, right? That skip pass creates a long closeout for that low defender of TCU, and another early turnover for the Horned Frogs.
Bull underneath. Burks, what a start for UCF.
After the ball went through the hoop, you saw Jordan Burks, maybe a little delay of game after the easy finish, just knocked the ball out of bounds.
That is the call, delay of game warning. Johnny Dawkins telling his guys, just play.
Yeah, well, we saw, Jordan Burks was pretty passionate there in the warm-ups, all right? We saw him getting in his teammates' faces. He's getting the coaches' faces. He was even screaming in the refs' faces, let's go. He's on one tonight.
Really close and loud when he was talking to Chris Merlo before the game. Kugel with quick hands as we go back to the bucket by Burks.
Great pass from John Bowl to find underneath and watch right here. See that extra little kick out of bounds after the little contact with Xavier Edmonds. But so far, so good for the UCF Knights. This is the kind of start they were looking for here in front of their home crowd.
Well, coming off 3 losses, you expected a max-type effort from UCF in what is a game that would go a long way in helping them secure a spot in the NCAA tournament. Harding, punch, discards Folks, and it's an offensive foul.
Not a bad look right there from Brock Harding, but David Punch just trying to hold position underneath, extends that left elbow. And this is going to be going UCF's way. You see right there, that left arm just extends on Themis Folks. Already 4 turnovers for the Horned Frogs to start this game, and we haven't even hit the first median.
They only had 8 turnovers in an overtime win on Saturday against Oklahoma State. Bowl out of the double team to Burks. Bowl collects, 5 on the shot clock, Punch takes it away. Punch sizing up Burks. Spins and scores. He makes it look easy on the block.
He does. At 6'7", he's not the biggest interior player, but he's able to score up and over guys of a similar size, right? You almost want to play him with your biggest guy if you possibly can, because when he has a similar size matchup, it's advantage David Punch.
Folks tees up Burks. Stillwell offensive rebound and a foul. 15:37 remaining in the first half. A UCF team desperate to end a 3-game losing streak. Off to a good start here in Orlando.
The second one was things fall apart, and the third one was Ikigai. BJ, what is something that you loved to do when you were playing basketball that kind of gave you a distraction?
I was a guy that when I got away from the game, I wanted to get away, right? So I was always big into movies. I wasn't a huge video game guy, but I loved watching the newest movies that came out. Academy Awards is one of my favorite award shows of the year, Austin. Whenever I was at UCF, Mark Daniels and I always did a segment about the most recent movies I've watched. So if you want any good movie recs, all right, you come find me, all right? That's at It's BJ Taylor on Twitter and Instagram. Shoot me a message. I'll send you the best movie recs that I got for you.
Well, we heard the 3 books that John Bowl just finished. How about your 3 favorite movies?
Of all time?
Of all time.
Oh, that's heavy. I would have to start with Goodfellas is up there. Okay, I love me some Goodfellas. If I'm going to go sports movie, semi-pro, Will Ferrell's in there. And then you probably got to look at American Gangster, Denzel Washington.
Okay.
So there's 2, kind of like gangster crime movies in there. Those are some of my favorites. So Goodfellas, semi-pro, American Gangster, Denzel Washington.
All right.
Top 3.
BJ Taylor's top 3 movies. Tune in for Oscar picks later in the season.
Here we go.
2 free throws for Jamichael Stillwell. 11-4 UCF in front. Knights coming off a gut-wrenching loss here on Saturday against West Virginia. They led by 14, but were outscored 28-13 in the final 7.5 minutes of that game. West Virginia ultimately pulled away for a 74-67 win as Litauris Lelevicius hits the 3 for TCU. He is a sharpshooter off the Horned Frogs bench.
Yeah, for a team who had a swarm of early turnovers, good for Lelevicius to come in and knock down a long triple.
Jeremy Fumena in off the UCF bench, missed a good look inside. Tanner Toulson driving the baseline. He is fouled.
See right here, nice feed inside to Edmonds. Works some action around, and Lelevicius just rotates up to that top of the key for the triple. And that's great. When your teammates know a shooter like him checks into the game and they find him immediately, do you know what that does for his confidence? You know how much more engaged he's going to be defensively now because he knocked down an early triple? It's good basketball from Jamie Dixon's group.
Now shooting above 50% from 3 in Big 12 play, and there's another triple. Tanner Toulson. TCU players coming in off the bench and ready to shoot.
This is a strong out-of-bounds under right there. You'll screen the screener, wrap around Tanner Toolson to the corner.
Jordan Burks right in front of the TCU bench with his second three. 10 early points for Jordan Burks.
Can TCU contain the live dribble of UCF? It's one of the keys to watch tonight. Can they keep the ball in front and keep these Knights guards out of the paint? Because if not, it's going to be open threes or dump downs to guys like Bowl and Fumena all night for UCF.
Jaden Pierre, quick release. He's coming off a game in which he hit 4 of 5 from three-point range against Oklahoma State.
You see right here, just a nice out-of-bounds under wrap. Tanner Toolson to the corner, gets the feet set. He's going to knock those down more likely than not. And this is what we're talking about, all right? You see Tanner Toolson defensively. Got to do a better job of keeping that ball in front. If not, now we get into rotations. Now the Knights are able to drive and kick and create those open shots that they want. On-ball defense so important for the Horned Frogs tonight.
Xavier Edmonds challenging Fumena. Two guys that play with a lot of intensity going head-to-head right there.
None more important to keep out of the paint than this guy.
Fultz finds Burks. Into the lane. Fultz had to work his way around Fumena.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Toolson running the floor. Cambridge altered that shot. Robinson comes away with a rebound. And a foul against UCF.
On the Fultz drive, you're absolutely right, Austin. Kind of ran into the back of his own teammate in Fumena. And then right here, Devin Cambridge able to challenge this shot up top. Make it tough on Toolson. Good job of sticking with it by Michael Robinson. You know, early on in this game, the reserves have given TCU a bit of a lift, right? Tanner Toolson, Lelevichus, all right? Guys provide a little scoring punch. Question for those guys, can they keep that ball in front defensively, all right? You can't get beat off the bounce so easily. It's a good pocket pass.
Punch up and over for Mena for his second bucket.
Excellent execution on these out-of-bounds under. You know, right now, Jamie Dixon's 2 for 2 on out-of-bounds unders, getting what they want in that sequence of the game, you know. Out-of-bounds under, kind of like special teams in football, Austin, you know, kind of that third part of the game that people don't talk about, but it can be very important.
Cambridge back cuts Lelevichus. They're going to get basket interference. TCU thought a UCF player touched the basket, but they're going to score the bucket.
Yeah, taking a look at that out-of-bounds under again. It's a nice pocket pass to one of the best interior finishes in the Big 12, and then here's what you're talking about, Austin. As Devin Cambridge goes up, it looks like that's Jeremy Fumena who messed with that basketball. And the TCU bench right now is absolutely livid.
Jamie Dixon pleading his case. Chris Merlo asking him if he wants to challenge the call.
Yeah.
He's saying you can, but Jamie Dixon's looking at the second row of his bench and deciding not to based on the replay.
Yeah. Well, you know, you only get one challenge a game, right, unless you get it right, and then you have one more second final challenge. So, you know, not even 8 minutes into this ball game, it's hard to challenge something so early. You got to be 100% sure in that challenge.
Chris Johnson deflected into the backcourt. Harding just inside the free throw line, no. Toolson, who's been a menace on the glass the last 3 games, creates a second chance.
Definitely provides energy and a spark. Great pass from Johnson.
Oh, Jeremy Fumena. Let him know. You will not see a more intense reaction the entire season than what Jeremy Fumena just produced after this hammer.
I mean, you talk about kicking it ahead. Show a little emotion, big fella. You gotta love it. Knights upset only with one more ranked matchup left on the schedule, right? UCF has that game out at BYU, and the TCU still has a matchup with Texas Tech later this year. So, again, that just puts the emphasis on this game at an even higher level.
The winner of this one will go a game above 500 in the league. Pierre inside the free throw line, stays with it and scores.
It's a very athletic play right there from Jaden Pierre. You miss your own shot and then just find it in midair and get it back. Terrific athleticism and focus from the guard.
Pierre, the transfer from Providence, where he played 3 seasons. Jeremy Fumena, not quite as demonstrative with his reaction after that bucket.
There he goes. Tanner Toulson, I'm talking about, gonna be active.
Lob for Kugel. Harding knocked it out of bounds, stays with UCF.
And this is what I'm talking about. You see the miss right here, but watch how quickly he gets back on it. Finds it in midair before the camera can even pan back to him. He was still in the air. And Chris Johnson has made some really nice passes out of that trap that TCU is implementing. And then, yeah, that time a much more normal, calm, down-to-earth reaction by Jeremy Fumena instead of the extremely elated finish we saw before the timeout.
Fumena back to 100%. He missed 4 games with a knee injury that he suffered against Iowa State. Important piece of that UCF front court. Riley Kugel going to work on the baseline.
And this is the guy that has to be very aggressive for UCF offensively, right? You know, leading scorer on this team, best individual shot creator. He's got to be aggressive in finding his looks.
He's been active defensively here in the early going as well. Punch will try a 3. Not the strength of his game. Just a 26% three-point shooter.
There was no rhythm on that three-pointer, right, Austin? It wasn't a driving kick. It wasn't a post-feed kick out. It was just a perimeter swing into a shot. Those aren't rhythm threes. You want to take rhythm threes.
Devin Cambridge got position, and UCF has made its last 5 from the field.
Very engaged right now defensively, making it very hard for TCU or the UCF Knights.
Harding off the screen, long with the 3, and Cambridge up high for the board.
TCU got to get some penetration, right, to a post feed or a drive and kick. Too far of a pass from Kugel.
Robinson left it on the front rim.
Guy like Robinson, 11 points last time out, double-figure score in their overtime win over Oklahoma State. Gotta finish those kind of plays, those bunnies on the road.
He's played well as of late. 3 consecutive games in double figures. Rebounds the Cambridge miss. TCU just 1 for its last 9. Folks is guarding Punch in the post. TCU unable to get it to him. Harding's pass off the mark for Pierre. 5th TCU turnover of the half.
They've just been out of sorts offensively, right? They haven't been able to get into any sort of rhythm. This Knights defense has been very engaged. They've communicated at a high level. They're switching, they're pointing, they're talking. Right now, Jamie Dixon's group, whether it's a Brock Harding drive, creating in the paint, whether it's getting David Punch going, Xavier Edmonds, they got to find a way to get some consistent offense. But, you know, we're only through the first quarter of this game. Still a lot of basketball left to play.
And if you've paid attention to the Big 12 throughout the season, you know, it really doesn't matter how big the margin is or how much time is left.
Say that again, Ashton. The Knights, much to their dismay, had that, a perfect example of that in their previous matchup with West Virginia.
14-point second half lead evaporated here on Saturday. Saw Iowa State come from behind with some Hilton magic last night against Houston. Folks slithering his way inside to set up Bowl at the rim.
Yeah, I mean, that's just so good. The handle, the ability to keep your head up at the same time. He just gets where he wants to on the floor. His handle's so good, and he can always play with his head up to find his teammates. The reason why there aren't many setup guys better in the Big 12 than Themis Folks.
John Bowl hits the first 2. Folks second in the Big 12 in assists per game and 12th nationally in that category. That foul, by the way, was on David Punch. It's his second. This is a TCU team that doesn't have a lot of depth. They cannot afford foul trouble, certainly not for their leading scorer.
No, and not, you're down double figures on the road. It's all hands on deck at this point, right? It's a crucial point in this game where you don't want to allow this lead to balloon anymore, especially on the road. It's really, really hard to mount those comebacks.
Bull commits a foul.
Anything, as a former player, under 15 is doable, right? Especially early in the first half. Obviously, you don't want to fall behind double figures, but if you do, it's still within reach, right? Balloon that thing up to 20 and stuff, and now it just becomes real daunting. So if you're TCU, they got to get some good possessions going here. Good look.
They hit 12 threes at Oklahoma State on Saturday. Great play by Toulson to get it back for TCU. Pierre, the floater.
Big, right? Second chance opportunity. Jaden Pierre gets a nice floater. Again, the TCU haven't played your best basketball early on. Still within a good striking distance. Good shot.
George Beal Jr. knocks down his first shot of the game. A three from the wing. Beal, a guy who could be counted on to play some more minutes tonight with Carmelo Pacheco not at 100%.
Yeah, two similar guys, right? Both guys that are pretty much offensive snipers from the three-point line.
Edmonds' pass deflected by Bull. Stays with TCU with 5 on the shot for than 3.5 minutes in this first half, and they made just one of their last 7 for the field. TCU struggling to find an offensive rhythm. Micah Robinson puts it on the deck. High arcing over Bull, and he got a friendly bounce.
Say that again, Austin. That bad boy came down from the ceiling. Goodness gracious.
Burks crosses over on Lelevicius.
Good job moving the feet, though. Stayed in front, stayed down. He's going to go ISO one-on-one right here.
Three was short.
The great thing about coming out of these timeouts when you're on the road, the crowd sits down and it actually gets a little quieter in the building. It's an opportunity to make a little spurt if you're the road team, because crowd's into it right before the timeout. Things are happening, they're all on their feet. And then after timeout, it's always a little bit quieter, a little more settled. TCU coming out a little aggressive, a more tempered Edition Financial Arena.
The Horned Frogs looking to keep it that way. Toulson to the line. Started his college career at BYU and 2 seasons at Utah Valley before transferring to TCU. And he's really come on for Jamie Dixon. Back-to-back games in double-figure scoring. First time he's done that this entire season. And 19 rebounds in the last 3 games. Jamie Dixon praised his effort, his competitiveness. He's a guy who's been a big factor in TCU's 3-game winning streak. UCF baseball on the road right now, taking on 23rd ranked Miami. First road game of the season for Rich Wallace's team, and going pretty well so far. 5-0 lead for the Knights as they try to get a win over the Hurricanes. A 5-0 game in the bottom of the 5th. That game available right now on ESPN+.
You got your baseball voice ready? Springtime, are you good to go? Baseball, Austin, is different than basketball, Austin. So just goes to show your versatility.
A little bit, just a little bit different.
Heard you were on the call Saturday, so you've already got a little warm-up going, all right?
Yep, got a little softball this weekend.
There we go.
Some variety's the spice of life, so I'm trying to have as many sports as I can. UCF turns it over. It's an 11-point game, under 6 minutes to go in this first half. Knights have led by as many as 13. And TCU without its leading scorer, David Punch, who picked up 2 early fouls. Xavier Edmonds really trying to force his way in there on Stillwell. He was claiming there was contact as Burks took it away.
Yeah, the issue is the spacing right now for TCU just isn't good. I mean, Edmonds ran up the back of Toulson as much as anything on that last possession, so got to find some offensive continuity right now if you're the Horned Frogs without David Punch.
Great effort by Edmonds there to get around in front.
You know, Fulks always has that head up, going to throw the skip. Good activity from Edmonds inside. And TCU, talk about winning in a variety of different ways. You know, that was a low-scoring, grinded-out battle when they beat Iowa State last week. You know, 62-55. They come back this weekend and win, you know, 95-92 games. So there's a number of ways TCU can get it done. It looks like tonight they're going to have to lean on their defense a little more than their offense.
Lilevich just puts it on the deck, too strong. Edmonds' offensive rebound, and he's hacked. Let's check in with Danielle. She's got more on Xavier Edmonds.
Yeah, Austin, you know, being the youngest of 9 siblings, Xavier said that he got a lot of leeway, but also a lot of support. Xavier told me growing up, his siblings sacrificed a lot of their time to make sure he gets to practice, picking him up because they wanted to pour into his dream. And Xavier said they shaped him into who he is today, and they have kept him on the right track to reach this level. And, you know, BJ, I know you have a sister and she didn't play sports, but what was it like growing up with her?
I mean, anytime you have family in the building that supports you, all right, you know, my sister was always at my game. She, you know, even when she didn't want to be, she was there. And she was always one of my biggest supporters. So, you know, it takes a village, as they say. It takes a family effort, you know, whether it's brothers, sisters, moms, dad, aunts, uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers, right, extended family. Just need that support system, Austin.
I think you can count on anyone who's the youngest of 9 siblings is going to be pretty tough.
Exactly. Yeah.
One more free throw for Edmonds. He was the top JUCO recruit in the country. Played at Salt Lake Community College. And it took him some time to get adjusted to playing in the Big 12. But he has really come on. Double-doubles in 6 of the last 7 games, as he's unable to hit either of his chances at the line. Cambridge double teams. And a foul against Edmonds.
That's what TCU does. Right? It's kind of a junky defense at times because there's random traps and random switches. You know, it's kind of like blitzing in football. When it works, it can really work. When it doesn't, you get yourself in some funky spots, you know. It worked against Iowa State. Of course, Iowa State in the 17 turns. You know, tonight it's been kind of hit or miss. Big skip right there.
Burks needed every inch of his 6'9" frame to snare it. Toulson sets up Robinson from the corner. Around and out. Well, TCU's had a lot of opportunities, just cannot find the range.
Yeah, that's a really good look. We talked about rhythm threes. Well, that's a rhythm 3 in transition. Just unable to convert.
2 for their last 11, 7 for 24 so far in the game for TCU. Fulks with 7 on the shot clock. Burks from the corner. Knocks down another one. Third 3 of the first half for Jordan Burks.
Terrific patience right there from UCF. Able to get that ball to the middle of the TCU defense, the weak spot of that TCU defense. We have another issue with the clock.
Jamie Dixon taking a timeout there with 3:37 to go. Well, Jordan Burks red hot in this first half for UCF. His third 3 gives the Knights their largest lead.
Frogs, if you're TCU, gotta find a way to penetrate these gaps through post feed or dribble drive penetration. Too much out on the perimeter. And right now they're gonna see a little nice 2-3 zone, so gotta get that ball to the middle. Perfect.
David Punch back out there with the 2 fouls and making an impact right away.
The Knights man-to-man have been working pretty well, but kind of a staple of a Johnny Dawkins program to show that zone look out of timeouts. Great job of TCU executing.
Kugel, quick release just inside the 3-point line. Burks able to track it down. Officials stop play. The shot clock did not reset. So officials get it taken care of. Chris Merlot ready for someone to stand next to him and throw it in. Kugel on the baseline, fouled on the way up. And that's going to be on Punch. It's his 3rd.
Reaching out front early, and then against a miscommunication on the switch. Allows for the Jordan Burks 3. You know, as much as TCU switches and traps and they do this and that, their communication has got to be top notch, because if not, it just turns into a lot of looking around sometimes for this TCU Horned Frogs group.
So Punch sits for the majority of the half after picking up 2 fouls, comes back in, and in 1 defensive possession, he's got his 3rd.
And you know, I mean, that's obviously Jamie Dixon trusting his sophomore, right? You know, the conversation, especially with the assistants on the bench, was you can't foul. All right, we're going to put you back in for the home stretch of the first half, but you cannot pick up the 3rd. And no sooner than he checks in, honors the 3rd one.
2 free throws for Kugel. Stretch it back to a 14-point game as we check in with Danielle.
Yeah, also, you know, one of the things that has changed Riley Kugel's way of life was when he was younger, his cousin Alex passed away from cancer. And Riley and his cousin grew up together and lived in the same house. He said watching that has changed his outlook on life. Now, Riley said that he carries that weight beyond the court and in everything that he does. And it's a reminder for him every single day. And BJ, growing up, what was kind of going through your head when it came to basketball?
I mean, I think on my end, it was just really trying to be the best possible player I could be. We all have different motivations, and you know, for a guy like Riley Kugel going through that at such a young age, you know, that's just a motivation that you wish he didn't have to go through. But you know, it speaks to his mental toughness and resiliency to continue to be the player that
he is. Burks steps back and stays red hot. 16 first half points for Jordan Burks.
I mean, he's been the guy so far today. MVP of the first half, and this probably his best triple so far of the day. Definitely his #1 highlight triple. Loves the corner, by the way. You know, he's a guy that really, really loves the corner triple, whether it's off the catch or whether he can create one off the bounce like he did right there. That's his sweet spot.
Hit a big 3 from the corner against Kansas.
Yeah.
And UCS home win over the Jayhawks earlier this season.
And you know, the TCU player's dad was a pretty good corner 3-point shooter himself, James Posey.
Yep.
You know, number 42. One of the best corner 3-point shooters, one of the most clutch 3-point shooters throughout his tenure in the NBA.
Jace Posey, a sophomore who plays off the TCU bench. 1 of 2 free throws for the Horned Frogs, and then Vianney Salachim commits a foul, so we'll parade to the other end, and JaMychal Stillwell will get a chance at the line. Stillwell again did not play against West Virginia here on Saturday due to the ankle injury. 3rd missed game of the season. A guy who's shown great improvement at the free throw line this year. He's up to 72% now. He's hit 11 of his last 12.
Extended routine. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? Didn't mean to jinx him, but the routine was a little bit extended right there. He really drew out the suspense, right, with the pause. I was always a fan of, like a couple dribbles, spin the ball, or a couple dribbles, just get up and into it. He has a very, timely.
Well, look, it's been working for him.
It has, no, 100%. I wouldn't tell the guy to change it. He really drew the suspense, right there.
Micah Robinson follows up the Harding miss. Back to a 13-point game, coming up on 90 seconds remaining in the half.
Great skip.
Kugel drops the hammer as he drove the baseline.
Too much one-on-one right now for TCU Austin, right? Like, where's the penetration? Got to get downhill. Got to create something in the paint.
Toulson gets fouled. As you look at flight 2, cleared for takeoff.
100%. Just goes up and over the top of Lelevichis. It all begins with the Themis Folk skip. That's a great pass. Creates a closeout, and then the hammer over top. Riley Kugel with his second best dunk of the season. We saw his best dunk earlier this year. That's number 2, okay? For those who haven't seen the best one, Google Riley Kugel UCF dunk. I'm pretty sure it'll be the first search result that you find.
I mean, you're hoping for that.
Yeah.
Toulson at the line for TCU. It's a 1-and-1 after the foul against Cambridge. Toulson is TCU's leading scorer in this first half. He's got 8.
David Punch and Xavier Edmonds combining for 6, only 6 in the first half. Hasn't really been a winning recipe for TCU throughout the season. Those two guys got to come out of halftime with a little bit more force and a little bit more impact on this game offensively.
UCF will take the use it or lose it timeout with 61 seconds. About how pivotal this game could be for both of these teams. Look, you look at the remaining schedules, still a decent chance that each of these squads could finish above 500 in the league.
No question. I mean, the opportunities are there for both of these groups, right, with the scheduling and the number of games they have left. So, as much as we've made this out to be kind of like you really want to get this one, it's not absolutely needed for either group. It would just go a long way in helping.
9-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Jaden Pierre with it at the top for TCU. UCF's largest lead has been 15. Right now it's a 14-point margin. Pierre the kick. Lelevichis unable to hit. Burks comes down with it. UCF with one final chance.
Got to stop the ball on this guy.
Folks throws it away. Toulson with 2, with 1. He's fouled by Beal with 1/10 of a second on the clock.
Great job of corralling the ball right here by the TCU defense. Stopped the ball really well, and then as Themis Folks throws this skip pass, really nice anticipation from Toulson, and then you're just wondering right now, like, George Bill, you don't want to foul him. You got to make Tanner Toulson go up and finish that. At less than 0.5 left on the game clock. If he finishes it, but you don't want to send him to the line.
Toulson's been huge for TCU this half. Horned Frogs indifferent at the line. They're now 6 of 11. Indicative of the type of shooting night it's been for them. Not good overall, not good from 3, and not great from the line.
But this might sound crazy. As bad as they've played, to only be down 14, that's not horrible. It's still doable. You come out with a strong punch to start the second half, you can cut this thing to single digits really fast.
2 missed opportunities for Tanner Toulson at the end of the half. And we head to the break with UCF up by 14, thanks in part to 16 first half points from Jordan. A 3-game winning streak for TCU as they come to Orlando, and a couple of those wins have been in come-from-behind fashion.
Absolutely. So as we know, in Big 12 basketball, the game doesn't seem to start until the second half tips off.
And TCU starts the second half with David Punch on the bench. Leading scorer for the Horned Frogs, saddled with foul trouble in that first half. He picked up his third in the closing minutes. So he starts on the bench as TCU gets a three from Micah Robinson.
And that's one of the guys that's going to have to pick up the slack, right? Micah Robinson is going to have to be very aggressive here in this second half as Jamie Dixon figures out how to navigate David Punch with those 3 fouls.
Stillwell, free throw line extended with 10 on the shot clock. Muscles his way inside. Burks on the deck. Defended well. Burks stays with it. 2 good looks. Neither one falls.
Score and a stop. First 2 possessions of this second half, exactly what TCU needed. And this is what I'm talking about, Austin. As bad as they played in the first half, a score right here, single-figure game. See, you're right back in it.
Micah Robinson taking it to the rack. Google hits him on the arm. So 2 free throws coming for the sophomore from Kansas City.
Again, a lot more aggressive driving the basketball. Led to the Michael Robinson 3 right there. Robinson, the recipient of driving a closeout. TCU's got to play with that force here if they want to make a run in this second half. A rare sighting of Jamie Dixon sitting down. That was rare. Right? I don't know if we're going to be able to cut away to that to the rest of the game. All right? That's probably the last time. He's already up. Yep.
He was extremely active. Not quite working as hard as his players were in that first half, but
close.
Not too far behind.
Close. He's burning 300 to 400 calories a game, minimum, I would say. All right? The way he can get up and down the sideline with pace.
I think you're on with that estimate. Maybe even a little low.
Maybe a little low, right? Maybe north of 500. Kick ball.
5 on the shot clock. Jamie Dixon now 60 years old. 10th season at his alma mater. Second most wins in program history. He's only 13 away from setting the program record currently held by Buster Brannon. Folks navigating his way against a lot of traffic.
Great job staying down by Toulson.
Stillwell had no angle there, able to get the reverse to go down.
And that's just a chemistry between a couple of guys who came over from Milwaukee together last year in the Horizon League. No 2 players on the court have a better chemistry than Stillwell and Fulks.
Edmonds up and over Bowl. That 3 doesn't go. Out of bounds, it will stay with TCU.
This is late in the shot clock. You see 6, 5. Have the patience and not be rushed in that scenario. Just remain poised and find your cutting teammate. Again, that's Fulks-Stillwell connection. It is a Fulwell connection, right? Should have changed it.
So well connected, you got to combine the 2.
Yeah.
Toulson cutting down the lane. Harding's pass was off target. Google went up with bad intentions and got hit by Pierre.
Some of these drives just have not been able to connect for TCU. It leads to easy runouts for UCF. UCF is not a team that relies on forcing a lot of turnovers, right? They only average about 5 steals a game, so they are not a team that is predicated on turning you over and going the other way. So when you do that against this group, it's just making it that much more challenging on yourself. 5 steals ranks last in conference play, right? So this goes to show if you're TCU, you should be able to take care of the ball pretty well offensively, get what you want, get a shot up on the rim.
TCU nearly as many turnovers tonight as they had in an overtime game against Oklahoma State on Saturday. Back to a 14-point margin.
Again, it's just everything seems to be a deflection, tip ball. fitting it into tight windows right there, a little slip action. As Edmonds goes over, trying to find Robinson on that slip to the rim, but the nice engagement defensively and the length of John Bowl just making things tough on the Horned Frogs.
Pierre, a little hesitation. Robinson lost his footing on the baseline. The result is a foul against UCF. That's on Kugel, and it's his third.
Yeah, definitely a foul right there. Just a little too handsy from Riley Kugel. Caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
So each team's leading scorer is going to be on the bench with 3 fouls. Kugel picks up his third. And we've yet to see David Punch in this second half for TCU.
You gotta wonder, if this lead continues to grow for UCF, it's a nice move by Michael Robinson. At what point do you put Punch back in, even with the 3 fouls, right? I would imagine around that 12-minute mark, Jamie Dixon looks to insert him back in the game, but it all depends on whether or not they keep this lead close and keep this game close.
Stillwell goes down. It was a strong trap from Harding and Edmonds.
You know, not the easiest thing in the world to knock Jermichael Stillwell down. He actually threw the left arm right there. Could have been called for an offensive foul against Xavier Edmonds. But TCU, that's what they do. They trap ball screens. They trap in different areas of the post. Jamie Dixon loves to apply pressure defensively, but the rotations on the backside have got to be really, really good and really, really in sync for that sort of trapping defense to be effective.
And David Punch comes back in for TCU with 16:45 to go. Brock Harding sits. Burks curling. And he's got another 3. 5th triple of the game for Jordan Burks.
How good has Jordan Burks been tonight? And the most on balance I've seen him on every 3-point attempt all season long. Nice stick-to-itiveness right there, Xavier Edmonds.
First basket of the game for Edmonds, who had been averaging 17 per game over the last 7. Punch trying to enter it to Edmonds. He was locked up with Bowl. And the foul's now starting to mount for UCF here in the early part of the second half.
That's an important part of what TCU does. This is a group that attempts nearly 25 free throws a game in conference play. That's second best in the Big 12. So if they can work their way into the bonus and start to get some of those freebies and just those little bump fouls or ticky-tack things going towards the rim, could be a difference maker in them cutting down this lead.
Now, TCU has made 125 more free throws than their opponents this season. Edmonds once again forcing his way inside. Back-to-back buckets for the 6'8" junior from Long Beach.
Got a good matchup inside. Stillwell being defended by Pierre. Got the high-low.
Fumena found Stillwell underneath.
That's a good job of awareness by Jeremy Fumena, right? A lot of times you have those mismatches, but especially front court players like centers, they just don't see it. It's good awareness from Fumena to find him.
Punch leans a shoulder into Stillwell and gets it to go off the glass.
I tell you what, 3 fouls, 4 fouls, he's going to remain aggressive, right? He's going to throw his body around. Sometimes you see guys play passive when they're in foul trouble. Not David Punch. He's remaining aggressive.
Burks left open. Short with that 3. Stays with it, though. Johnson bounces it right back to him. Able to flip it up and in. Toulson unable to answer from the corner. Knights on the run. Folks will keep it. Pierre back cut. Punch will try to take his time against Stillwell. Two strong guys going head-to-head right there.
Spacing is just not great for TCU right now.
It's going to be a double foul called, believe, against both Fumena and Edmonds as we head to break. Jordan Burks started hot, staying hot.
He's rolling. He's on fire. He is absolutely getting it done. And right here, this was not the worst thing for TCU. And could have been an and one. But their game at BYU becomes that much more winnable due to that injury. And if you're TCU, you already knocked off Iowa State last week. You still have Texas Tech later on in the year. As important as tonight is, this is a crucial game for both of these teams. Those opportunities could go a long way as well as we move through the home stretch.
And TCU with 3 of the last 5 games at home as Jeremy Fumena scores inside. 6 points for Fumena. Before the break, by the way, double foul on Edmonds and Fumena because neither team had possession. They went to a held ball. So that gave the possession arrow to UCF. And it was the 3rd foul against Edmonds. So 3 on Punch, 3 on Edmonds for TCU, a team that really doesn't have any depth.
Yeah.
Has foul issues with 13.5 minutes to go.
And part of their success has been they've cut down the rotation, right? They've limited the number of guys getting big minutes. As George Beal, another guy that's, in the absence of Carmelo Pacheco, a couple big threes from him so far tonight.
Beal played 10 minutes here against West Virginia. Again, has an opportunity to see more time with an injury to Carmelo Pacheco, and he's making the most of it. A couple of threes for Beal. TCU really attacking the interior. Micah Robinson missed initially, but able to follow his miss.
And the Knights are going to switch 1 through 4, right? They're going to switch point guard through power forward. If you can get Themis Fulks defending a Micah Robinson or David Punch, you got to run some action to get that switch where you get the little on the big, and then look to work that action, look to work that angle. I know the Knights are switching 1 through 4. They can get that switch if they go to it.
Robinson's really turned it up here in the second half. He's up to 15 points and 6 rebounds. 4th straight game in double-figure scoring for Micah Robinson. Beal puts it on the deck.
Great job by Lelevicius of getting Beal off the three-point line.
Fulks turns the corner. Off target for Fumena. And UCF turns it over.
Just a little bit hesitant on some of these switches, right? You got to be decisive, you got to make quick decisions. Something that Themis Fulks usually does with the best of them. Both these groups, right? When there's switches on the perimeter, real simple. If the small is defending a big, you go inside to the big. And if your small guard is being defended by the bigger guy, give him space to attack downhill and penetrate the paint.
Harding back in there at the point for TCU. Margin exactly where it was at halftime, 14. Off the bounce pass, Punch wasn't fully in control as he went up for that, and Edmonds couldn't control the rebound. Timeout on the floor, 12 minutes remaining here in Orlando. UCF right now in control over TCU.
In late game situations, but it also helped us know that we have the confidence to get the job done when the pressure is on. And BJ, what kind of mindset in this kind of game do players need to have going into this, and especially in this moment?
Well, you don't want to give up that right there. I'll tell you that much, Danielle. That's not what the 2-minute games are meant for. Give up an easy push ahead, transition, dunk to Devin Cambridge.
Well, this is exactly where UCF was against West Virginia here on Saturday. They led by 14 going into the under-12 timeout. West Virginia went on an 11-2 run before the under-8 timeout, and it completely flipped the game as Toulson pounds it through.
I didn't know he had that. I think that kind of caught both of us off guard. Devin Cambridge is one of the highest jumpers on this night's team. He didn't even give it a try. He said, nah, you got it, big fella. Go ahead. Throw it down.
Toulson in double figures with 10. Bounce pass inside. Fumena.
Two easy ones, right? The Cambridge lob in transition, and then right there, just too easy for Fumena underneath.
UCF 16 assists on 23 field goals as Lelevicius unable to hit the three.
That would have been big. That would have helped.
Beal, quick release from the corner. Oh, he is feeling it. George Beal with one of his best performances of the season. He's got 9.
You never know when you might get your opportunity. All you can do is make the most of it. It's exactly what George Beal has done here tonight.
Fumena and Cambridge surround Xavier Edmonds.
It's a great lob up top to Devin Cambridge up over the head of Xavier Edmonds. They go up and get one if you're Devin Cambridge, and then a guy that has been just absolutely scorching tonight. I mean, this is a great closeout and contest from Tanner Toolson, but when you are feeling it like George Beal is feeling it, you don't even see the defense.
3 for 3 from three-point range tonight for Beal. And to give you some perspective on what he's done recently, since January 11th, he has scored a total of 9 points.
Wow.
And he's got 9 tonight.
All in efficient fashion. I mean, 3 of 3 from the three-point line, has not missed from deep land as of yet, Austin. I mean, this is the kind of performance that, you know, even when everybody gets fully healthy, you know, Johnny Dawkins looks down that bench and games coming up, he's going to go, we got to give George Beal a try. We got to give him a chance.
Edmonds goes 1 of 2. Margin is 18. Johnny Dawkins talks a lot, as you know, about being ready.
Correct, yeah. I mean, George Beal has done that. It's not easy to stay as ready as he's been. Boy, thought that one was going. You heard my voice go up?
Off the back rim, the roof would have come off this place. Robinson, he's
big.
had it going for TCU. Robinson now up to 18.
It's big. Again, 15-point games. Your TCU, the thought has to be, get this to single digits by the next media. Get this game into single figures. It starts on this in the floor. They got to get stops.
Cambridge shut off on the baseline and taken away by Pierre. A couple of stops. Harding wide open, unable to hit. Edmonds collects it, and he's fouled.
The 3 would have been great. 2, you'll take the 2 at the line if you can get it. And if you're going to make the comeback, your TCU going to have to make a few triples from the outside. Only 4 of 17 from deep today, so got to get a few more of these to go. Pull off the comeback. That's one of the things with TCU, you know. 69% free throw shooting team. And, you know, what are they today, Austin, from free throw line?
They are now 9 of 17.
You know, don't like to leave those freebies on the line, right? You know, you want to be shooting around 75% as a team. 9 of 17 on the road just makes things that much more difficult.
One more for Edmonds, shooting into a variety of distractions. The palm fronds not as prominent as they normally are. That gets the job done from the UCF student section.
The Chick-fil-A sandwiches, interesting touch. Are we trying to make the shooter hungry at the line?
It's an easy way to take someone's mind off basketball.
Yeah, we're going to distract. Well, you're ordering Chick-fil-A already off your phone, so I know what you're having for dinner.
Lovely Chick-fil-A sandwich before the game tonight.
Can't beat it.
Pierre running the floor. And a foul inside. These will be free throws for TCU. I believe that's the 7th team foul, so a 1-and-1 upcoming. That foul's on Kugel. It's his 4th.
right there inside in the middle of your screen. You're going to see Kugel working to get into a full front. This is what we're talking about, right? Any foul from here on out, TCU can get to the free throw line, whether it's a shooting foul or whether it's just a common foul. You got to knock them down at the line. Got to take the freebies. You know who else gives out freebies from time to time? You know, when you spend enough Chick-fil-A points, you get a free milkshake. Are you a milkshake with your meal kind of guy?
I'm not a milkshake with my meal kind of guy. I'm a milkshake separate.
Okay,
separate
all
kind
right.
of guy.
So you'll go through Chick-fil-A and just grab a strawberry milkshake, vanilla milkshake, and go on about your day?
If the moment's right.
Okay, I like it.
Edmonds hits the front end of the 1-and-1. He was 2 for 6 at the line before that make. A big fan of the cookies and cream shake.
Terrific.
Chick-fil-A.
Absolutely. Can't.
I mean, any cookies and cream shake.
Yeah, it's tough.
Hard time going the wrong direction there.
Right. It's a recipe that was meant for each other. You know, cookies and cream was meant for each other. You know.
A little bit like Fulwell.
Oh yeah, the Stillwell Fulks connection, the Fulwell connection. We're gonna keep that, all right. We're gonna trademark that bad boy from now on.
There you
We're
go.
Gonna say the Fulwell connection.
2 free throws for Edmonds. He sits with 8:43 to go. TCU back within 12. This is as close as the Horned Frogs have been since the early moments of the second half. Chris Johnson across the midcourt line, and there's a timeout with 8:38 to go. 65-50.
Up, I believe, on Big Monday this week. So, I mean, this is going to be a very exciting finish to the Big 12.
And those Big Monday games on ESPN have been incredible.
They really have. I mean, just sensational.
Yeah, Kansas beating Arizona, handing the Wildcats their first loss a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then just last night, we had Iowa State coming back to beat Houston.
Yeah.
Jermichael Stillwell unable to beat the shot clock, so TCU gets another stop. Horned Frogs in the midst of a 7-0 run as they try to rally from a 19-point deficit.
Just doesn't touch any rim right here. And again, 8 minutes to go, 12-point game. You get the right look right here. You can cut this game to single figures. But it just feels like TCU has not been able to break through that wall. Let's see if they can do it now.
Floater on the baseline, no good for Salachum.
What are we talking about? So does it feel like can they get it right there to make this, make UCF feel a little bit of that game pressure? TCU just hasn't been able to convert those looks.
Burke short with the 3. Robinson pulls it down. Robinson with a head of steam, lost the handle. There was definitely some contact there.
Yeah. Jamie Dixon pleading with Tommy Johnson for the foul call right there. Said he grabbed him, said he wrapped around him.
Well, UCF got stagnant offensively late in that game against West Virginia. Stillwell with a strong take. Couldn't finish, and here comes Punch leading the break. He's got Pierre to the reverse, and it's a 10-point game with 7 minutes to go.
Great job pushing in transition by David Punch. Creating an easy opportunity in transition.
Johnson gives it up. Burks popped in and out. That's his spot. Loves shooting from that corner.
As hot as he was early on, missed on these last 2 possessions. Let's see if TCU can capitalize.
Punch with a lot of traffic. Errant pass. Fortunate that wasn't turned over.
Absolutely.
Pierre will take a deep one.
And that's not a bad look for Jaden Pierre, right? Shooting mid-30s from 3 in conference play. Jamie Dixon, it's not a bad look for your team.
Folks gets to his spot. He has been so good late in games for UCF. So often he's been the closer, and a nod of approval from Johnny Dawkins as his point guard comes to the bench. But it's a 12-point game. TCU threatening to make a run here late in the second half. 16 against Kansas State, 17 against Iowa State. He's been instrumental during this 3-game winning streak for TCU. And he has certainly done the lion's share of the work offensively here tonight.
That's a tough matchup to run this action to get punched the ball inside, but being defended by Jermichael Stillwell, Austin, that's just not going to work. You're going to run some action, you got to get Stillwell off a punch so that he has some sort of advantage down there.
Punch is a stout, well-built guy, but you're not going to find anybody that's got more girth inside than Jermichael Stillwell.
Right, it's not really an advantage for Punch.
Bull does a good job catching that bounce pass from Burks. Again, late clock. Fulks has the answer. Oh, that bucket will count.
Yeah. Let's take a look here, Austin.
And it's going to stay at this end of the floor.
Yes, Fulks goes in. Let's see where it's in. Bull slaps the net right there.
They got punched for a foul. So not only does Fulks get the basket, but the foul on David Punch will keep it at this end of the floor. And Jamie Dixon is indicating he wants to appeal that call.
Out to half court with it.
He gets a shake of the head from Marquise Pettigrew.
Not going to get the appeal. You can't challenge that play. So it really just has to go with the call on the floor.
Beal's pull up on the baseline is short. Under 5 minutes to go. Harding's bounce pass a little bit too far in front, but a grab from behind. So more free throws coming for TCU.
Really fortunate to have the foul called here against George Beal, because that was going to be quite the tough quarterback wide receiver connection right there between Harding and Edmonds.
9 team fouls against UCF, so this will be the final 1-and-1 for TCU. UCF's leading scorer, Riley Kugel, comes back with 4 fouls. Lelevich is back out there for TCU. Taking a lot of time to wipe up the perspiration on the floor.
Well, mob crew is very important to the game, all right? To the safety of the game, to the safety of the players, all right? Mob crew, one of the more underrated aspects of college basketball. Got to get a clean floor. That's my TED Talk.
Kugel with 4, 3 each on Cambridge, Bowl, and Fumena. That foul on Punch was his 4th. He's the only TCU player with 4. Edmonds twice has been iced at the line with an extended cleanup time, has been able to step up and hit the free throw. Now 6 of 10 at the line. He's in double figures with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Fulks navigating his way through traffic. Burks may have gotten away with a travel.
Yeah.
Gets the bounce pass and a foul against TCU.
And that's when the UCF offense is at its best. When they are able to make quick drives, quick decisions with the basketball. You see here, drive right here from Jordan Burks, and you drive from Fulks, and it gets back to Burks. Right, when they drive closeout after closeout after closeout, they're very effective offensively.
Third time this season, Jordan Burks has gone for 20 plus. Chance with one more made free throw to tie a career high.
And look at the assist numbers today, Austin. 17 assists for UCF. only 8 assists for TCU. You know, we've been doing this for a while. I don't know how many times the team has lost the assist battle by that significant of a margin and yet still won the game.
That's a hard discrepancy to overcome. Robinson rejected by Bowl. Folks on the run. Fouled by Edmonds. That was a hard collision. Both guys look like they're going to be all right.
Timing it up, getting it off the glass. And then hard collision right here between Edmonds and Fulks. Lucky to see both players just getting up off the floor and no one getting hurt on a collision like that.
The foul on Edmonds is his 4th, so both him and Punch with 4 fouls. Two free throws for Folks. Quiet night for him scoring-wise. That's just his 7th point, but he does have 7 assists.
And you know, that's when really Demus Fulks and his group is at its best. When he has to score 20 plus, they've had games this season they've won like that, but they are at their best when he is able to be a facilitator and play make for Jordan Burks, for Kugel, all right? John Boland Stillwell inside. So while he is a capable scorer, as he's gonna go create an easy bucket for himself right here, will he dunk it? Oh, kind of got us excited there. A little 5'10" guard. He's 6'2", but he's thinking about punching one.
Boy, Edmonds was thinking about punching one. There was no hesitation there. And Bowl commits the foul with 3:46 to go. Demus Fulks.
Nice little nugget of information right there. Ohio runner-up in the MAC a year ago. See, that's preparation, right? For all you kids at home that may want to get into sports broadcasting, preparation is everything. And nobody embodies that more than Austin Lyon, all right? That is elite level preparation.
Come for the college hoops, stay for a little college softball.
There we go.
First free throw rims in for Edmonds. Nearly 3.5 minutes without a field goal for TCU. There was a moment where it looked like they had some hope in this second half. Cut it down to 10, but had a few empty possessions in a row, and UCF got some timely shooting from George Beal to help pull away.
Really the difference in what blew this game open, right? And there's a couple of opportunities where it was a 12-point game and it was a 10-point game, and could TCU burst through that ceiling and really make UCF feel some game pressure and just weren't able to convert a few of those shots.
Burks with 5 on the shot clock finds Fulks. He'll have to do it himself, and he does. Well, so often Fulks has met the moment in those late clock situations as Punch goes right up into Bowl and is able to roll it home. Well, UCF poised to get back in the win column after 3 consecutive losses, including one that was tough to take here on Saturday against West Virginia, led by 14 with 11.5 minutes to go, ended up losing by 7. Burks lets it go from deep.
You also got to, you think Austin had foul trouble at David Punch, right, in the first half, and TCU never really be able to find a rhythm as Harden gets one to roll. It seemed like they never were able to hit their stride offensively in this game. It's been clunky the entire time through.
Brock Harding with the jumper and a timeout by Jamie Dixon with 2:20 to no Big 12 team that's ever finished above 500 has been left out of the NCAA tournament. And even though TCU is going to fall to 6-7 with this defeat, they've got a manageable schedule the rest of the way.
Good question.
Big challenge with the game against Texas Tech, but 3 of the 5 games are at home. Kugel lost it up against the bottom of the backboard. Punch, great spin on Cambridge. Down to 12 with 1:48 to go.
But you look at TCU's resume, right? If you have wins over Florida, wins over Texas Tech, and wins over Iowa State, and a win over a Wisconsin team who, is still Michigan's only loss of the season. I mean, it's really, really hard to envision. Obviously, that season opener, their loss to New Orleans, it's a really, really bad first loss going to be really held against them. But wins over, those 4 teams, TCU's still in a good spot to make the tournament. Right, really nice spin from David Punch.
Yeah, those Florida and Wisconsin wins are both aging really well.
100%.
Cambridge long on the 3. Kugel could have been called for a foul there as Toulson hit the deck. Instead, it's just out of bounds to TCU.
It's kind of like people tell you to invest your money and let your money work for you. Well, when you're a basketball team like TCU is, you're hoping that your wins work for you, right? Florida continues to be the best team in the SEC, right? And Wisconsin finishes the year strong. Maybe Iowa State wins the Big 12 as Jaden Pierre. TCU's not going down without a fight here, cutting this bad boy to 10 with a little over a minute to go. It's a really nice little dribble handoff action, gets into the body of Fulks and plays through the contact.
Still an uphill battle, but
yeah.
TCU has scored 8 in a row. Free throw by Pierre is short, and a big defensive rebound there by Burks. Johnson grabbed by Toulson, and it will be a 1-and-1 for UCF. It'll be interesting how the NCAA tournament committee evaluates those wins.
Yes.
Because, Florida was a much different team in November. Wisconsin was a much different team.
Correct.
In November. Those teams are peaking as we hit the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in the committee room, if you were,
yep.
How do you evaluate the just looking at a win on paper versus when the game was played?
I mean, I think if there aren't any glaring injuries, and for example, though Florida was a different team, they had their entire roster, right? Wisconsin had their entire roster, so sure, Florida's been a totally different team in 2026 than they were in 2025, but you still have to say they beat them with a full team and a full roster, so I don't think the committee's going to hold it against them that Florida wasn't playing their best basketball early on, or Wisconsin, especially Austin, with TCU having beat Iowa State this time last week and a potential win over Texas Tech. That's 4 big-time wins, man.
Punch with the dunk. The foul will put Fulks at the line. 57.4 to go. That's the 9th Texas Christian team foul. So a 1-and-1 for Themis Fulks. This will be the last time UCF would shoot a 1-and-1. Earlier we told you UCF baseball on the road against Miami, trying to get a win over the 23rd ranked team in the country. That game has now gone to extra innings. UCF led 5-2 going to the bottom of the 9th. Miami scored 3, and so it is 5-5 top 10. So once this one's over, chance to flip over to ACC Network Extra, see some bonus baseball. 2 big free throws from Fulks, back up to 11. Toulson nearly threw it away there. Punch will try a 3. That's long. Beal the rebound. He is fouled. Toulson down for TCU. There have been a lot of players that have slipped on that same area of the floor.
Yes.
Guys, managers have been trying to keep it as dry as they can.
And see, we do it the old-fashioned way, right? Hands and knees, just a towel, get down there and get into it. All right, clockwise motion, then you go to a counterclockwise motion, then you get back to a clockwise motion, all right? It's the best way to get sweat off the floor if you didn't know. Some schools, some universities go with the mop, right? Come out with the mop like NBA teams do, but that's not how UCF does it, all right? UCF goes with clockwise motion, counterclockwise motion, clockwise motion. Usually does it.
Are you telling me that NBA teams are not using the most efficient way to clean the floor?
Well, you know how things are in the NBA these days, man. You know, and it's glitz and the glamour, and it's the show and everything. You know, it has to be pretty, and getting down on your hands and knees, really getting in there, just isn't as pretty. All right, as the mop.
Is this scientifically proven?
It is certainly. It is certainly not scientifically proven.
Oh, okay.
This is all anecdotal.
All right, yeah, okay, I understand. Very good.
This is from the B.J. Taylor School of Cleanup. All right.
Toolson well off the mark with the 3. Burks taking it inside, and he missed a chance for what would have been a new career high. Robinson blocked by Burks. Edmonds stays with it. Foul with 23.1 to go. That's likely going to be all. You wonder if Jordan Burks knows that bucket would have been a career high. He reacted as though he knew.
Yes. You also wonder, 6'9", about a 7-foot wingspan. Austin, hypothetically, if you were that size, what would you have gone up and done? You probably would have tried to dunk it. I'm not sure. I'm sure Johnny Dawkins would go over with Jordan Burks in film like, hey, man, you are allowed to dunk. At 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, you are allowed to just punch that bad boy home, especially when you've had a sensational game like he's had and you're going for a career high. Leave no doubt. I was never 6'9", right? For those at home, you're talking to a 6'2" listed, real-life 6'1" guard here, right? I never had that 6'9" ability to just go up and punch one, but I wish I did.
The 2 free throws by Robinson bring him up to 20. Toolson, no quit in his game. Out of bounds, it stays with TCU. The valiant late effort is going to go for naught. TCU's 3-game winning streak will come to an end. And UCF's 3-game losing streak will also come to an end. Chris Johnson comes away with the rebound, and that'll do it. Well, UCF bounces back after a gut-wrenching loss here on Saturday, and the Knights win it 82-71 to get back above 500 in conference play.